Welcome to Hancock's VMware Half Hour, and welcome back to another Hancock's VMware Half Hour. Anyway, apologies because I've looked back at the last video I done, which was part 5 on our Minisforum MS-A2, where we installed Windows Server 2025 Data Center Edition, the desktop experience with the GUI, and I noticed that my chair was a bit low. So I've actually now adjusted my chair correctly, so there's not this big black space above my head. And I've also actually taken the time to write myself a little checklist. I've been meaning to do this for weeks. As time goes on here at Hancock's VMware Half Hour, things are getting awfully complicated to set up this environment to capture these videos that I bring to you. So what I really need to do is to create a big macro script using my Stream Deck or Loop Deck, just to press that button that sets everything up. A bit like when you get into a BMW or a Rolls Royce and you press a button and it adjusts the wing mirrors and the seat and everything for you. That's what I really need to do. Anyway, so this evening's video is all about these two here. So we're back to our Cyrus Veeam 10, which if you've been following these videos, we're just gonna branch away slightly from meddling with the MS-A2 at the moment, but we are going to use the MS-A2 in this video because I've been dropped the Hyper-V function on it, so it's now a Hyper-V server, and I'm going to return to doing some conversions. So this is going to be a conversion from VMware vSphere ESXi. I'm using Veeam Backup and Replication version 12.3, and we're going to use one of the backups that I've used previously in a number of videos where I was spinning them up on Nutanix and Proxmox and Oracle Virtualization Manager, OLVM. I think that's right. So I'm going to kind of jump back to that. Like, there are an awful lot of people out there that sadly just cannot afford the renewal price to renew for VMware vSphere 8 or 9 for the future. It's just simple financials. They've just not got the money. It's as simple as that. You know, VMware vSphere might be the best hypervisor in the world ever, has ever seen, but the sad fact is that people can't afford to use it. People can't afford to use it in the future. So, you know, we've been discussing this issue, this problem, certainly since November 2023. And for a lot of our clients now, that 3-year window that they purchased, that 2 to 3 year window that they purchased to look at current technologies and what they're going to do next. Just excuse me a minute, I've got a frog in my throat. Hey, I think that's better. I was just looking at the counters there to see that time is actually moving on. Anyway, it is a very sad fact that the financials for some organizations just aren't working out. It's as simple as that. A lot of organizations at the moment are under huge financial pressure with budget cuts, IT cuts, staffing losses, so budgets are shrinking, and it couldn't be a worse time really for some of these renewals to be coming through from Broadcom, which are just astronomical. And I give you an indication of some clients when they previously renewed, the costs were £250,000, which some people would actually basically turn around and say for software licenses is expensive anyway. And we've always known, and I've always said, VMware vSphere, I've always said to clients, VMware vSphere is expensive. If you can't afford it, do Hyper-V. Technically, it's free, because you've already bought the Microsoft licenses anyway to license that ESXi server. So you remove the ESXi and the V10 to server components, then you can run Hyper-V on it and do much the same. Not everything. I'm not saying that Microsoft Hyper-V is a replacement for VMware vSphere. It's not. So, you know, there are going to be some casualties in some of the functions that are missing, but it's going to be a lot cheaper. Anyway, so in this video, what we're going to do, we're going to have a little look at using Veeam Backup and Replication to effectively do V to Vs, if you want to call them that, virtual to virtual conversions, or restore to bare metal. But that's what we're going to do in this video. So I'm logged in to our Veeam Backup and Replication server, 12.3. And you would have seen me done this before. If you've watched a few of these other videos that we did, then the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to click Add Server. I'm looking at the wrong screen. I'm looking at the screen over here, but I should be looking at the screen here. So I'm going to click Microsoft Hyper-V. I'm wondering whether or not that it will recognize an FQDN or not. Let's see. My bad, I didn't actually set one up, but I'm wondering whether or not that it can resolve it. So let's have a little look. We now want to make sure you specify if you're using local administrator accounts rather than domain accounts, make sure you specify the realm. Normally you would use, if the domain was fish tank like here, then you'd use fish tank / administrator or fish tank / username. So with a local account on the machine, then the machine name is MS-A2 followed by administrator. I've already created that, followed by next. Now this is either basically going to fall over because it can't resolve it. Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to have to do is, let's just drop an IP address in there and click next, followed by next. Hopefully it should validate. Now we would have done this on Windows 11. However, Windows 11 client Hyper-V is not supported by Veeam Backup Replication. So you can unfortunately use Windows 11 client Hyper-V. Okay, so due to the modifications, component name status, transport will be installed and Hyper-V integration will be installed. And the Hyper-V server will act as a backup proxy for jobs on the host. Backup no, task limit 4, that's fine. So I'm going to click apply, and hopefully that's going to go off and start the process and uploading and install them and do all those other things. So while I'm doing that, I'm just going to take a swig of orange juice here. Trying to lay off the Pepsi Maxes. My throat's a bit sore. Maybe it's because I've been doing too many videos today. Okay, so let's have a little look. So we've uploaded the packages, we've installed the transports, we delete the temporary files, registering size for the package transport. Server has been saved successfully. So I'm going to click next and I'm going to click finish. So if I look in that list now, you can see that under Microsoft Hyper-V, I've got my standalone host, which is 141.245.136.14. Okay, so I found my backups. Select backup, backups disk, and I've expanded the domain controller's local backup job. I'm going to select all these. These were exactly the same virtual machines that we've used as our test virtual machines when we've restored to Nutanix and Oracle. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to say restore entire VM, or I could do instant recovery. So let's say instant recovery to Microsoft Hyper-V. Yeah, I'm happy with all that. So I'm going to click next. It's just going to validate the source items. So hosts. So I'm just going to, I think before we actually found it, we could actually select all at once, and I can just actually select our host there. So that's our host 141.245.136.14. There's no FQDN, followed by next. Okay, so that's actually going to put it in C program Microsoft Windows. Okay, and it's going to put those in CVMs. CVMs is, I've already created that folder, so I'm going to click next. Going to change the network connection, so I'm going to select network. And if you've been watching these videos, you will know that that's a forced installation of the i225-LM network controller, followed by next. And in fact, actually, Minisforum support did come back to me this afternoon. A bit strange, because the first thing they turned around and said is that they don't actually have any other drivers than for Windows 10 or Windows 11. Then they actually basically sent me some links to AMD and the Intel site, and then asked me to give them information as to what drivers were missing and what were the error messages, to which I responded. I'll update the thread. So yeah, I'm not going to basically scan for malware, followed by next. I'm not going to power on the virtual machines afterwards, and that's click finish. And hopefully, I think the last time that we did this, we actually basically noticed that the update was a little bit slow before anything. There we go. So we've got 9 jobs running. In fact, so we've got 9 running, starting, and there's 7 there. It's 9 now. So I'm hoping over here, you can't obviously basically see it. So that's our instant VM recovery running and starting on our Veeam Backup and Replication Server 12.3. And then over here, is our Hyper-V server, which is running on our MS-A2. So providing that I don't see any error messages, what I'm hoping eventually to see is that we actually start seeing some virtual machines that are actually basically created over here. Nothing's happened yet. Okay, so you would have just seen that happen, because I'm just looking here now. All VHDs are mounted successfully. Disk restoring, and it's restoring the files now. So there isn't really anything more for me to do at the moment. Obviously, you can see things are happening, things are whirring around in the background. And there was another one that was created there as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not quite got 9 yet. But eventually, these, it's interesting because these say they're running. I'm absolutely convinced that I actually basically turned around and said, don't power them on. So now that our instant VMs, our VMs are now mounted, we can now migrate them to production. Now, if you've watched the other videos, that you will know this is a slightly different method of restoring virtual machines using Veeam Backup Replication from ESXi to Hyper-V. So now we want to basically right click the job. So I'm not going to do all these at the same time, because in the lab here, we're probably going to blow up the LAN with the amount of bandwidth required, I would think. So I'm going to right click and say migrate to production. So now what's actually going to happen is that the restore is going to restore the contents of a histogram Pi hole to that MS-A2 server, and I will repeat that with all the virtual machines. And when that's done, I'll come back and I'll power them on. Just wanted you to see that there is some feedback, but you can see how maxed out this single Ethernet adapter is inside this VM at 9994 megabits per second. But anyway, I just wanted to show you. But I think one of the comments I made previously about the Veeam Backup Replication version 12.3 and its ability to migrate, convert VMs to other platforms was the lack of feedback. It was just seemed to be a dark hole of no feedback at all as to how long that these things were going to take to restore. So we have actually basically got some feedback here, because I've actually kicked off a pistogrammer, Hoplo, Molly and Swordtail, because all those are Linux based Ubuntu virtual machines running Pi-hole. So you can see now that some of those have disappeared. So those jobs would appear to be of it. I'm just glancing at the screen over there that you can't actually see, because I'm looking at the inbound traffic on MS-A2. So that's just what caught my attention, and these have all finished at the same time that one finished over there. Hang on, I'll turn that screen on, and then you can see. There we go. I was looking at that screen, and I could see that the network activity had all disappeared at the same time, of course, that the network activities basically disappeared here. So we've only got these final jobs to do. So I'm going to do these one at a time again. Migrate to production. Tell you what, let's do migrate to production for that one as well. Which is there are two domain controllers. Actually, this is interesting. We've actually got some feedback immediately now. We hadn't before. So 1% done, 3% done. I like that. That's pretty good. Good job, Veeam. There's some feedback at least for that. I don't know why there isn't for Nutanix and Oracle when we looked at it, which was one of my. Unless I missed it, maybe I need to go back and have a little look at that again and see whether or not that there is a percentage restore status. But it was one of the comments that I did make. If you go back to that video, you will know that I made comments about the fact that there wasn't any feedback telling me how long these restores, recoveries were going to take. So that's Rasbora, 21%, 4%. Tell you what we'll do. We'll migrate that to production as well, and we will migrate that to production as well. And again, we can see that huge amounts of traffic, as we'd expect, on a network interface. So we've got 6%, 6%, 3%, and 28%. And inbound is 260.4 megabits per second on MS-A2. Anyway, so I tell you what, I'll disappear. I'll speed this up in post, and we can see that we will end up with a migration or restoration to Hyper-V. So I'll be back shortly. I'm back. Well, that was fun. All 9 machines migrated successfully. I'll speed that up in post. I think that was about 25 minutes. I think that it needed to restore all those virtual machines. So we're done with our Cyrus Veeam server. I'll just turn that off. And there you can see all our virtual machines. So we've got our Ubuntu 2004 LTS, Epistogramma, Pi-hole, migrated with ease. Simples, a couple of domain controllers, Windows, again, migrated with ease. Now, I'm just doing this in the lab. If I was doing it in production, then I'd take a little bit more care. I'd uninstall VMware tools before migrating, and after migrating the server, I would remove all the phantom drivers as well, just because somebody actually had a little bit of a complaint on one of the videos that I'd done. So this is just a lab, this is just a proof of concept, but quite clearly you can see that in 25 minutes I've migrated 9 virtual machines from VMware ESXi. There's an Ubuntu 18.05 there, booted, waiting at the login prompt. We've already had a look at Raspberry, Windows DC 2022. Have a little look at Pleco, booted. That's Certificate server. Molly, another Pi-hole server. Again, Ubuntu. Labio, that's another Ubuntu 18 server that actually basically runs home server. Hotplo, another Ubuntu Pi-hole server running Ubuntu 2004. Guppy, another Pi-hole server running Ubuntu. Danio 2022 server, Windows DC, and then finally Epistogramma at the top there again. So there you go. You know, you've seen how easy it is in that 20-minute demonstration that I'll speed up in the post, how easy it is with Veeam Backup Replication 12.3, how you can restore your VMware vSphere ESXi environment to Hyper-V. So you just go into your data center tomorrow, providing that you've got backups of your VMware vSphere environment, and I would certainly belts and braces, take 3 or 4 backups, migrate all the virtual machines off. If it's in the cluster with vMotion, DRS, HA, etc., you can migrate them all off, enter maintenance mode, remove that from the cluster, shut down, format, whatever you want to do, install Hyper-V, get Hyper-V back up and running again, and you're ready to go basically to restore. You know, you'd be within an hour, within 60 minutes, you'll have VMware vSphere machines running back on Hyper-V for free. Wow, technically my grandfather said that nothing's free in life. Somebody's paying for it somewhere, but you get the general idea. If you are at the moment facing financial constraints in budgets, you can't afford VMware vSphere, or if you even have a Homelab based on VMware vSphere, you know, you can get some, you know, Windows Server 2025 licenses online. You can build a Hyper-V server, and you can do the restoration. Or as I've showed you in the other videos, you could restore to Proxmox, you could restore to Nutanix, you could restore to Oracle. So plenty of options. Anyway, so that's all there is in this video, where I've showed you how to migrate VMware vSphere VMs running on ESXi using Veeam Backup and Replication 12.3. And we've restored these, and all these are running quite happily. wrong screen again. These are all running quite happily on our Minisforum MS-A2, and we have been using that network interface, the i225-LM, the one that I did the force installation on if you were looking at part 5, where we basically got a crowbar and we crowbarred in that network interface. So anyway, thanks so much for watching me this evening on another video from Hancock's VMware Half Hour. My name is Andrew Hancock. So cheers and gone.